The last place I wanted to be was Frostnipistan.
The total problem that is Meghan Markle and why she is doomed. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The total problem that is Meghan Markle. This video serves three purposes. Firstly, for those of you who know Meghan Markle, who I refer to as this one's wife, is a problem, yet you repeatedly wonder, why did she do that? How did she think that was a good idea? Why won't she go away? And you have many other questions about her. This video will give you the answer to every single question you have about her behaviour. Its purpose is to shed light on your confusion as to why she is so problematic. Secondly, you may not actually realise that she is such a problem, and this video explains to you precisely why she is a problem. Thirdly, you can use this video to send to people who you feel need some help in understanding that she is a problem and why she is a problem. In short, this video is to help people understand. Now, before I get into the meat of this one's wife and her problematic behaviours, a quick word about me. For those of you who may not be familiar with who I am an expert in narcissism and psychopathy. I am a narcissistic psychopath and have a level of awareness that is unprecedented. This enables me to share, through a huge body of work, information, insight, and knowledge about those two conditions. I have created many books, hundreds of blog articles, thousands of videos about the topic. And because of my insight, I'm able to explain the various facets of those conditions. Furthermore, I am schooled and created in the application of logic. My decision-making processes are not governed by emotion like many other people, but by logic. I go to the evidence, I assess the evidence, and I draw findings from that. I am not motivated by bias. I am not motivated by an innate dislike of the people that I scrutinize. I may have a view as to what I think about them, but the analysis of each and every person that comes under what I call the Tudor scope is subjected to the objective analysis of the evidence and conclusions drawn therein. This cold, hard, objective approach has served me well in what I do professionally, making me hugely successful, because I detach from any emotion-based decision-making. Accordingly, those of you who might think you just don't like this one's wife, and therefore you form this view because of that, are wholly incorrect. I formed the conclusion based upon my interaction with her, much of the information that is available about her because she places herself in the public eye, and a wide variety of sources, both for and against her, with regard to analysing what she is. Those of you who are long-standing users of my work will know that over a long period of time I've repeatedly analysed her behaviours to explain what she is. This one's wife was doomed. She was doomed from the very beginning of her life because she is the offspring of two narcissists. Her father, Thomas Markle Sr., is one, and her mother, Doria Ragland, is one. They are different types of narcissists, but they are narcissists nevertheless the same. And in the same cold, hard scrutiny that I have applied to this one's wife, I have looked at both of her parents in a similar fashion to reach those conclusions. Understand, even when somebody is a narcissist, they can do things which appear to be good, but as I shall explain, it is motivated by self-interest. For instance, I have helped many millions of people around the world not only understand about narcissism, but I've aided them in escaping narcissists, defeating them in court, succeeding with regard to child custody cases, unravelling business disputes, and much more in relation to narcissists. Without hesitation, those that I have assisted will say that I have done good for them. But because of what I am, understand that my motivations are not born out of goodness, altruism, or emotional empathy. They are self-serving. And so it was the case in relation to this one's wife's parents. Both her parents are narcissists. As I mentioned, they adopt differing styles, one being kinder than the other. The fact is that because of this, it was almost a certainty that the genetic predisposition towards becoming a narcissist was passed on to this one's wife when she was born. This did not guarantee that she would be a narcissist, but meant that within her there was the genetic coding which meant that if certain circumstances arose, she would become one. What it then needed was a lack of control environment. For a narcissist to be created, you need a genetic predisposition and this lack of control environment. This one's wife faced a lack of control environment in two respects. Firstly, her mother was absent for large periods of her life, meaning she did not have that maternal support, that maternal role model, the emotional support that a mother might provide. Secondly, her father, driven by his own self-interest, overcompensated, in effect, treating her like a princess. A combination of the absence of the mother and the overcompensating behaviours of the father resulted in the creation of a lack of control environment, which essentially meant that given her genetic predisposition towards narcissism, her narcissism arose and she became a narcissist. This was not instantaneous. It took place during her childhood, and in effect, her development has arrested, so that often she presents as a child. This is why you see much of her behaviour in respect of attention-seeking, like a teenager might do, throwing tantrums, like a toddler might do. In effect, she has not learned how to navigate the world in a way that many other people would do, through the application of respect, patience, understanding, cooperation, sharing, and emotional empathy. What is it that her narcissism does? It protects her. It allows her to function. She has not learned the alternative ways to function that many other people do who are not narcissists. Instead, her narcissism arose in order to allow her to navigate the world in a particular way, to allow her to function. And essentially, this means her first, everybody, and I mean everybody, else comes second. How does her narcissism protect her? It pursues something that is called the prime aims. These are four things: control, fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. I have plenty of videos about those various topics, so if you'd like to understand them further, you can access those videos. But in short, owing to the fact that this one's wife was created, if you will, in a lack of control environment, she becomes hypersensitive to any threats to that need for control. This goes on in her subconscious. She doesn't walk around thinking, I need control, I need control, I need control. Her narcissism is doing that on her behalf, like a background app. Criticism is a threat to her control. Not replying to a message of hers is a threat to her control. Saying that she doesn't look nice is a threat to her control. Ignoring her is a threat to her control. Not making her a cup of tea is a threat to her control. From the most minor of items through to more significant ones, there are repeated threats to control that occur to this one's wife on a daily basis. Her narcissism exists to get people under control, to keep them under control, and to nullify those threats to control. To you, it may sound exhausting, but remember, this is the way that she is designed. She has been created to be this way. Fuel is the lifeblood of the narcissist. Essentially, this is any form of response that comes from a person generated by her. Harry says, "I love you." That's fuel. A journalist mocks her work. That's fuel, even though it mocks. Somebody buys her a present. That's fuel. Somebody pays her money. That's fuel. Harry goes, ooh, ah, when they're getting down to some spicy poontang. That is fuel. Her children say, "Hello, mummy." That is fuel. A friend calls her and asks how she is. That is fuel. Fuel is hugely important to the narcissist, for without it, the construct that is the narcissist will fall apart, and the narcissist will find themselves entering a fuel crisis. You can watch a video about that separately. Character traits are what are taken from other people. In short, the narcissist doesn't have a real existence. They exist purely through others. Again, watch the video about character trait acquisition in that regard. Residual benefits covers everything else that the narcissist seeks: money, access to networks, facade management, and so forth. Each and every interaction that this one's wife has with another person, or contemplated interaction with another person, is in pursuit of one or more of the prime aims. She invites a friend onto her cookery show. She must control that friend. They are also providing fuel. She may well acquire character traits from their experiences, and furthermore, there will be the residual benefit, as she will manage her facade to make it seem like she's a good friend. She goes to bed with Harry. She controls him through sex. She receives fuel from his responses. She may also receive the residual benefit of enjoying the experience herself, because narcissists also experience pleasure. She walks away from someone because she doesn't like them. She has asserted control over them by withdrawing. She has taken no fuel, no character traits or residual benefits, and therefore in that scenario has only taken one of the prime aims. But it is fundamental that you understand that each and everything that this one's wife does in relation to other people is all about the prime aims. It isn't kindness. It isn't love. It isn't friendship. It is about the prime aims. What does this mean for her behaviour? It means that it is entirely self-centred. She is entitled. She lacks accountability for her behaviour, because if you were to hold her to account, you would threaten her need for control. It results in grandiose behaviours, because her narcissism tells her that she is the best, that she is the most brilliant. It means that she is haughty and dismissive, because she sees herself as unaccountable to anybody else and set above everybody else. It means she engages in deluded magical thinking, whereby she fails to recognise her limitations and thinks that she is fantastic. It causes her to believe that every man wants to sleep with her, that every woman wants to be her, and if you don't, then there's something seriously wrong with you. It means that she deploys many instinctive, unaware manipulations in order to control people. She thinks she's giving a compliment, but she's actually flattering to deceive them into control. She will issue silent treatments. She will belittle and invalidate. She will triangulate with objects, events, and people. She will engage in circular conversations. She will bring up the past. She will future fake. There's a whole raft of manipulations that her narcissism instinctively utilizes to enable her to get to the prime aims. She has no boundary recognition. She can go where she wants at any time and take what she wishes because she's allowed to do so. At the heart of all of this, she has no emotional empathy. She has cognitive empathy, whereby her narcissism has enabled her to learn, to a degree, although it often misfires, how she ought to behave in certain situations to make it look like she cares. She also thinks that she cares, because the narcissism is not allowed to let her know what she truly is, for if it did, the whole thing would break down. Why is her being a narcissist such a problem? It means she lies. She uses people. She revises history, which confuses people. Nothing about her is genuine. It is an artifice, a fabrication. Relationships are purely transactional. People end up abused. Notably, these are the ones which are closest to her, such as Harry, her children, her family, her friends, people that have worked for her. Doesn't she see what she is? No. Part of her narcissism is that it doesn't allow her to know that she is a narcissist. It also means that in many instances she doesn't recognize that her behavior is problematic, and where she does know that she's done something hurtful, it always tells her that it was the other person's fault. It is never her fault. Will she change? No. She sees no reason to change. After all, it is never her fault. It is the fault of everybody else. Why is she doomed? She is doomed because this is all she knows. She is trapped, unable to alter her behaviours because she does not see that there is anything wrong with them. She is trapped to behave this way because the narcissism must make her behave this way, for this is the only way that she understands subconsciously to survive and to attempt to thrive in this cruel and venal world. She sees herself as the perpetual victim. In some respects, she is a victim. She is the victim of the behaviour of two narcissists, and as such, this has forged a victim mentality in her mind, whereby, when you tell her she's done something wrong, her narcissism tells her they said that because they're racist. When you point out that something doesn't suit her, because on the face of it, the clothing doesn't, her narcissism tells her that you're an awful person because you're criticizing her. Her narcissism tells her that she is the victim of racism, hatred, and misogyny. In some instances, there is truth in that there are some people that engage in those behaviours, but for the vast majority they do not. They just simply dislike her because of the way that she behaves, but she cannot compute that that could ever be the case, because all she sees in her behaviour, through the distortion field that is her narcissism, is that she is a kind, caring, loving, wonderful person. There is a complete disconnect between the way she sees herself and the way that many other people do. She is doomed because she will keep on repeating this behaviour, because she is incapable of learning from the mistakes. If you praise the way that she behaves, she will accept that. If you criticise the way that she behaves, she will reject it. She does not engage in self-reflection. She will never, ever sit on her own and think to herself, I messed that up, and I alone. I have ostracised my husband from his family by telling lies about them. I have cast my father to one side by telling lies about him. I have ignored my half-siblings by maintaining that they are awful human beings and smearing them. She will never sit and think, I have used friends and former lovers, my former husband. Each instance, she is the victim. She is the one that's been picked on, denigrated, and criticised. Her narcissism must fashion that mindset so that she is never, ever subjected to the sustained control of other people. She must always have that control. For having been created in the crucible of an absence of control, her narcissism fights tooth and nail each and every day to prevent any further threats to her control from landing a blow upon her. There are 3 ways that she deals with the issue of control, which I talk about in a logic bulletin called The 3 Assertions of Control, which you can obtain in the Knowledge Vault, should you be so minded. She is doomed to repeat this behaviour. She is doomed because it will create collateral consequences. It means that people see that she is not authentic. People will see that she's nasty, unpleasant, a liar, a user, a tantrum holder. They will recognise, again and again as a consequence of the frequent exposure of her behaviour, because she's overexposed, that she isn't this kind, loving wife with the idyllic family who only ever wants to bring forth a lifestyle brand for the betterment of the world. The collateral consequences rain down, because they always do with the lesser and mid-range narcissists, with this one's wife being a mid-range narcissist. The difference for her is that as a consequence of her pursuit of the prime aims, she has become so overexposed that the media and those on social media regularly highlight and scrutinise her many failings. And notwithstanding this scrutiny, she doesn't stop and think, maybe I should just retreat, maybe I should go quiet, maybe I should seek the privacy that I've always spoken about. No. Her narcissism must make her continue to engage in this behaviour in the pursuit of the prime aims, to thirst for the fuel, to nullify the threat to control by dismissing these people as naysayers, haters, and racists. She has no argument other than, I am the victim, you are the hater. She has no place to go other than to keep doing what she has done. In some respects, she's trapped in a hellish existence, although she doesn't recognise it. It isn't the case that she sits alone sobbing to herself about how hard things are. Her narcissism will not allow it, for it would not serve any purpose to her. It is not the case that she gains insight and realises, I am truly disliked, in some instances hated, because of the way that I behave. That insight will always be denied to her. But make no doubt, her existence is hellish, for she derives no true joy, no real happiness from anything that she does, just the effects of the sensation of power from the receipt of fuel. That she is always fighting to fill the chasm within her, for she is empty. She is always seeking to nullify the threats to control and gain that control, ceaseless, unrelenting, whenever she is engaging with other people. The total problem for this one's wife is her narcissism. It controls her every thought and deed when it comes to other people. It causes her to lash out at people, to flatter them, to overpraise them, to ridicule them, to belittle them, to use them, to lie to them, to not speak to them. It causes her to seek attention by staring down the camera lens whenever she is out and about. It causes her to talk relentlessly about herself, even though the audience are becoming bored. It causes her to bring the attention back onto her by always talking about herself, by inventing anecdotes, stealing them from other people in an attempt to make herself seem more interesting, because ultimately she is dull and boring. This one's wife is simply a mediocre actress and somebody who ran a blog, who got lucky by marrying a prince. Her narcissism aided her in doing that. Her narcissism continues to seek to aid her on a daily basis, but all it does is highlight her behaviours, causing her to be seen for what she truly is. I have not gone through each and every piece of evidence to demonstrate that she is a narcissist, because I have done this previously. But I would invite those of you that perhaps still do not accept that she is one to approach, from the very beginning, my videos that began with a very royal narcissist part 1, and to listen with an open mind, for it will demonstrate to you clearly, clinically, objectively, why she is a narcissist. The evidence is overwhelming. For those of you who accept that she is, it is important and imperative that you recognise that This narcissism governs every aspect of her behavior when it comes to dealing with other people. So if you want to know why did she do this, the answer is her narcissism. And breaking it down further, it related to the pursuit of the prime aims. And then you can break it down further. It must have related to the need to get control, or the need to draw fuel. Fixed with this knowledge, you will no longer find yourself scratching your head wondering, why does she do these things? Why does she make these mistakes? Because her narcissism caused her to act in the moment in a particular way, which resulted in the collateral consequence. Why does she tell lies? Because her lies are used to gain control, by making her seem, for instance, better than she is when she exaggerates what she's done in the past or outright lies about it. She denies that she's done things which actually took place in order to nullify the threat to control, but lies once again. She creates a facade of this trad wife, but then wants to become the sensual lover, and then wants to become the hard-nosed girl boss. Because like any narcissist, she is a chameleon. She doesn't really know what she is. She doesn't know that she is a narcissist, and she doesn't know what that means. In each instance, she believes the thing that she presents to the world, and in effect, that is rather tragic, because it means there is no substance to her. I do not say this to engender any sympathy for her. You can make your own mind up as to what you think about her circumstances. But the total problem that is this one's wife is all as a consequence of the fact that she is a narcissist. She has created a narcissist, she remains a narcissist, and will always be one. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.